Hello small truckers, we have this BM Creations. It's been a long time since I've reviewed one of these because the brand went to a tangent I'm not a big fan of. Mainly a bunch of swappable bumpers and stuff like that and opening panels. But this one I don't think, it has swappable pieces, but I don't think it has an opening. Well, it might have an opening hood just looking through the packaging. Let's find out. Now what's weird is this thing came out with a couple of alternative colors and codes. This one says JS11. If you do an internet search for Suzuki JS11, absolutely nothing comes up. But the other product that BM Creations offered was, I think, an SJ413. And then there's a whole lot of stuff, and that's what these images tend to look like. So I have a suspicion this is just an SJ413 of some sort. But correct me if I'm wrong. Hopefully you know more about Suzuki than I do. All I know is this thing was the Suzuki Samurai back in the States. But this thing was sold almost everywhere, and it was called the Holden Drover, the Maruti Gypsy, the Santana Samurai, the Suzuki Caribbean, the Katana, the Potohar, the Santana, the Sierra, and the Suzuki Fox in Iceland. So, many different names. As to why they just can't stick to Jimny everywhere, I don't know. Like, I don't think Jimny's an offensive word in most cultures. Alright. So I noticed that they went away from the crystal boxes. I'm perfectly fine with that because that's just more expensive plastic than the blister pack that you may probably just throw into the trash. So I applaud the use of efficient packaging. A second set of wheels here. Let's open this guy up here. Interesting. Alright, so there's a roof rack here. There's, I don't know what that is. Yeah, like stickers of some sort, but they're just plain. They're laser cut. Maybe that'll come later. Some Jimny plates, so that's really cool. You can add some license plates with Jimny, and then you have a second set of tires and wheels, off-road style versus the road-going ones, I guess. And maybe a different type of bumper. I'm imagining a roll bumper. And the side steps, maybe? Yeah, well, or, yeah, different bumpers. And then some screws. So I'm going to put those aside for now. Alright, let's see about this roof coming off. I think this comes off, according to the photos. The back wants to. I don't know if there's a tab. Oh, wait, maybe. It's getting looser. Maybe it's just some wet paint or something. Let me come back. So I thought I'd record this because I want to let you be warned. There's a really sticky glue holding this roof on. You can see it's almost like a spider web or something. Spider-Man put this thing together, but I guess it's like it didn't leave a mark, so that's fine. And then I realized that it popped off the spare tire, which I think is okay. It's probably meant to be swapped out with one of the off-roady ones. But this is very loose now, so this will easily just fall off. Okay, so be mindful of that. You might want to put some like sticky putty or something like that into that hole to keep it a little tighter, or add some sort of clear paint to this maybe to make it tighter. Alright, so this is just an all clear plastic roof and is painted, you know, white, so it seems okay. Nicely done. Some, undulation there, so it looks like a fabric top. And then the window cutouts are looking pretty sharp. There's some silver dots there for the snaps to hold this thing down, so that's fine. Alrighty, let's see what else we have here. So you'll notice there's a hood scoop on this thing. So I'm just going to read off the stats on the SJ413. It came out in 1984, where the original second generation Jimny came out in 1981. The original one was a K-Class vehicle with a 540cc engine, up to a 2-liter 4 turbo, I think, with the larger of the models, which might be this SJ413. So there's two different Jimnys, one a K class, which is physically smaller, and then there's the worldwide export one, which is, I guess, bigger, longer, and wider. And so that's what makes me think what these things are. So anyways, 1.3 liter, making it like 60 horsepower, and then says a roll bar, which we do see here, a new dashboard, seats, and grill. And then long wheelbase version was also available in certain markets, but still 3 doors. So I guess 1, 2, and maybe that's considered a door. Compact and light, it's a real 4-wheel drive vehicle with a transfer case, switchable 4-wheel drive, and a low range. And it outsold the Jeep Wrangler 2-to-1, at least in America, because it had a $6,000 price tag and it was a real 4x4. So that's what the internet's telling me, but boy, who knows how much of that is correct. Alright, so this license plate, I think, can be swapped, right? But what makes it different than the other one? So now let me find that thing again. You know, maybe that's just extra license plates, which is nice. You know, if you lose these things, they give you some spares, so that's kind of neat. Or actually, I think it's physically a different size. Yeah, so it's like a European plate size versus a US plate size. Well, it's just a little bit longer, it seems. That's really interesting. Doesn't seem like worth the effort, really. Alright. Alright, so yeah, the rear one as well. You know, I guess you can glue it there permanently if you want to. Alright, so what color is this thing? We have sky blue. It's metallic as well. That's something I couldn't figure out in the original photographs, the promo pics, so I just went with sky blue. Now that I know this, I'm thinking I might actually get the other one because I think it has a different front end. Yeah, but I don't know if the promo pics again are metallic or not on the other, that SJ413. Alright, well anyways, this thing's got some external hinges there. And those look pretty nice. The door cut looks pretty good. There's a 3D handle and a little bump here for the key and some sort of ribbing there. Maybe it's like a vent or something. A painted on graphic of some vents, and then a bump and painted on orange marker there. And then we have a little sport graphic on the side, and it's tampo printed, not a decal, so that's very good for longevity. This side mirror is rigid plastic, so don't drop this, that will break. And then nice tires and wheels. Well, not that tire, but the wheels are looking good. Can't tell if there's air. Yeah, there is air passing between those spokes. You can see on the far side. So that's good. The tire treads look road for this one, so I think that's okay. Maybe this just needs to get flipped around. And let's just take a look at the inside of the wheel here. So there's like 4 little centering ridges. And then we have some tire tread marks here that look okay. So there. Yeah, if you have a messed up tire, hopefully the other side will be okay. So from the side, this is looking pretty good. Let's see about the front here. Yeah, never mind that license plate again. That can be moved around. And then the turn signals here, looking good. Painted orange. We have nice clear lenses with some ribbing inside, so it looks like a Fresnel lens. And then the Suzuki badge is pretty clear from what I can see. Well, it could be better, but the general outline's pretty good. And then we have some ridges inside this grill. Very fine ridges, so that's good. And then this is a separate piece, this little scoop. So I'm gonna guess maybe this model is supposed to be like turbocharged or something. So maybe there's an intercooler there. Does this open? Well, no, because the paint is literally bridging the gap, but I do think it's a separate piece. Because you can see that gap there. I don't know if that's paint. I think that's a physical gap. So maybe they have separate molded pieces, you know, a different hood, and that's what makes the other model, the SJ413, versus this one. Alright, we have some black and slightly raised hinges. No, maybe that's not raised. It's just a graphic, I think. Alright, the wiper blades, though, are raised, and they're painted black, as well as the rest of the window molding. This, no extra glue residue there. Alright. I don't know if this is realistic or not, what's going on up here. Doesn't seem like it would make sense to do that. Don't know. This side doesn't look any worse than the other. It's just this one has a fuel filler on this side. And then again, that tire is messed up. I'll be back. Alright, to flip that tire around, it looks a lot better. So I gotta say, I'm back to these wheels. Really nice details. The 5 lug nuts, the center cap looks like it's painted black. So that's good. And then we have in the back, you know, the painted taillights are looking good. Good separation of color. External hinges again. And with a tiny impression of 4 little bolts holding those hinges on. Maybe there's supposed to be another one there, but the paint's covering it. Then Suzuki's printed nicely. There's a key bump there. Yeah, there's a bump. And the handle's a little bit of a bump and painted black. Some black rectangles there. And the little recess here in the exhaust tip. And the bumper is a separate plastic piece. Unfortunately, it's actually crooked. It's aimed downwards. Oh, but again, I think this can be replaced. I'll have to mess with it in a moment. Going to the interior, we have, you know, some decent enough detail here of the seat ribbing. The roll cage is relatively thin in its tubes. It's not oversized. And then, look at that. That's cool. A little instrument cluster. And Suzuki on the steering wheel. So that's a pretty good interior. Better than models that cost a lot more than this. So now I'm noticing the side mirrors seem to have some silver paint. So that's good as well. It's interesting. It's kind of like a matte finished dashboard, or like, is there not enough paint covering that dash? It's not very glossy. It's very matte and dull. So I don't know if they painted that thing or not. Alright. So the interior seems okay. I don't really care about the bomb so much, but I guess give them credit. There's a lot of detail going on here. First, there's 4 screws. I'm gonna have to figure out why. These look like they're separate pieces, these running steps or whatever, side steps. Silver paint on the exhaust system. Looks pretty neat. Alright. So, let me take this apart and I'll come back. Alright, it took a little bit to take apart, but it didn't break, so that's nice. So, a couple of tips here for you guys. First, I removed the bumper. There's just 2 pins holding on that rear bumper. Then the screws. The 2 short screws are holding the very far front and rears. These longer screws here are for the suspension. I guess this is suspension because there's a metal spring here. You can also see it moves a little bit there. So, okay, now what's a mystery still is why I think these are adjusting the ride height. The second set of screws that came in that plastic bag. So I'm going to fiddle with those. What's unfortunate is there's no second axles. So I think you literally have to take this wheel off. Yep. Then you have to pop on the other ones. So, yeah, okay. Let's get this out. I'm really worried about breaking these off as well. So I don't think these are swapped out. Only the bumpers are swappable, it seems. Alright, so let's get this axle out. So now I guess I need some pliers. We're going to try to lift it with the off-road set of wheels here. So just twisting and pulling. And it's not happening. Well, I guess I got to take that tire off. Alright, so that's better. So then I'm going to take the giant wheel. I'm going to twist and push on. So that's good. this exhaust tip as well, and I think that would snap off pretty easily. Okay. So that's that. It doesn't want to roll very smooth, so it's not like a Hot Wheels. You know, they're going for some sort of, I don't know if it's realistic or a gimmick or what. But you can now see that these off-road tires are much wider than the stock tires. So I do kind of like that. Seems accurate that you would put on bigger aftermarket wheels and tires. So this is a challenge, you know, trying to get this thing off. And the wheels are sliding inside the tires, so I took them off. Now it's just trying to twist one of the and pull this thing apart. Which side's gonna let go first? I don't know. This side. Alright. I'm gonna hold it by the knurling this time. Alright, that's definitely easier if you hold it with the knurling. To push it on, you really want it close to the wheel, or you might actually misalign the hole with the axle. You might end up being warped. Trying to push it in so I don't see that knurling anymore. That one went okay. Yeah, and there's a fifth wheel for the spare off the rear. Seems a little messed up. It's like extra chrome flash. This hole also seems messed up. You see how there's extra plastic in there? Boy, so I'm gonna get my little knife and maybe get some of that plastic out. Yeah, that helped. Okay, so again, a lot of friction there because I pushed it on pretty tight. But I actually like my models to not roll. So you might be able to actually do it lowrider style here with giant tires. Let's see what happens. Oh, another warning here. Don't try to pull the thing out just vertically, because you see these two rectangular notches here? These two things are tabbing into the casting back here. So you'll break them if you just try to pull too hard. What you have to do, hold on, let me get this interior back in. I'm going to put these tabs in first. Oh, and also that metal spring. And I see, yeah, so these holes are where those screws are going to come through. And this metal spring. Ideally, there'd be like a piece of tape there. In fact, yeah. Luckily, I keep some tape here. That way it won't fall out next time. Alright, so back to this. Now this is what's scary, you know, I'm afraid of scrunching those things and breaking them. I see there's a recess here for this post. So maybe I actually have to add but the seat here. It was actually hard to get this thing apart because I think this seat was getting caught up. But I see now. So this post is supposed to go into the interior piece. There's a mating hole there. That tape might have been too much. Or not. this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. Come on, tabs, get in there. Trying to get those 2 tabs in the back. It's because of this, I think. You know, that's trying to get in here, but that thing is in the way. So, I mean, how do you get this tab in and then get this thing to fit inside that hole? That seems to be the problem. Oh, there we go. Alright, so you really gotta jam it in there and then twist it in. Alright, so obviously the opposite is when you unscrew it, you want to pull the front up, and then you want to try to pull, I guess, pull it 90 like that, 45 and out. Alright, so let me get those short screws and put this thing together, at least the front end. I'm going to back screw, find the thread, there we go, that was nice and easy. Alright, so you'll see, obviously, I mean, I guess that's alright, but, you know, it's not very off-roady. That's the, not much suspension, but it's there. So now the question is, if I take these long screws, will it raise the suspension? So let's try to take a mental note. You can see the tire is pretty close to that fender corner. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, I saw it immediately, right? Yep, there you go. Well, that is interesting. So let me try the other long screw. Put that in the back. Alright, let's see that rear move. There you go. Well, maybe I don't know if I can go further or not. Maybe I can. That's pretty tight. Let's try the front a little further. I think that's maxed out now. But it definitely made a difference. I mean, you literally saw it move, right? Now the suspension here, it's a lot tighter, but it still will move. And then the printing on these tires is only on one side. So if you're not a fan of these BM Creations logos on the tires, let's swap this side out and I'll leave the other one the way it is. Alright, so yeah, there you go, that way. Or this way. I'm not even sure myself. Alright, so bumper wise, we took the rear bumper off. It's got these 2 pins. So this must be the rear bumper because it's got 2 pins, this more rugged looking tubular one. And it doesn't have a license plate, so I guess maybe in this case I want to cut these off and put those onto that bumper. Alright, so there we go, electronics clippers. So naturally you have to glue this in place. You know, if you don't want it to be permanent, I like to just use school glue because you can always dip that in hot water and it should work loose. But you know what, the friction, there might be a good friction fit here. I don't think that's going to fall out. Yeah, actually that's a really tight fit. You heard it squeak. So that's well engineered, that hole in that pin. Let's do it on this bumper as well. So what the thing is, I don't know which side is up on this one yet. I'm not going to mess with that one yet. So the rear here. There we go. So it's kind of loose, you know. If once you decide what style you like, you might want to add some glue on those pins. But for now, we'll just leave that. This is probably going to fall off again, but let's put the big tire on this back of this thing. Again, there's a little too much plastic in here. You know what, I got a hobby knife here as well. Alright. Oh, see, that rear bumper fell off. Okay, so you will realize this rear bumper has no taillights. So this is a totally illegal off-road vehicle, you know, not for road street use. Totally like a farm truck or something. Alright, so now this bumper here, I think it's sandwiched. It was part of that top there, so I actually have to take this thing apart again, which you didn't see the first time, so I guess just, well, here we go, education, right? So this outer one here, it's only a few threads, so it doesn't take long. You'll see it pops out. Now I gotta twist this up and out. There we go. Let me see. Okay, now I see. So these two pins are holding that bumper on. They're just really far in there. Maybe this metal pin thing is in the way, actually. So can I work this loose? I'm gonna just wiggle it. I'm also thinking when I put that metal piece back, these screws are in the way now, so I gotta loosen these so I can put the metal piece on easier. But I'm not getting this bumper off easily. So I have a foam pry tool. Let's see if we can get under the edge. Not that one. Boy. I'm afraid I'm going to snap it in half. Alright, well, I'm going to have to come back again. Oh, there we go. There we go. So that one's loose. Now this one. Alright. Pretty tight fit there. If it's sandwiched by the top and bottom, maybe it doesn't need to be that tight. Alright, so now the question is, does this go this way? I assume it is. Okay, so now I know the license plate is going to be on the bottom of this tube thing, just like the back was. Alright, so I guess this is the one last thing we haven't really talked about or looked at. It's a roof rack, and it looks like it has an actual clear lens in front of the LED array, so that's actually a really nice detail. It's a pretty cool roof rack. Unfortunately, there's a big chunk of plastic missing where it came off the molding sprue. And let's see, it's got 2 tabs in back and 4 in the front, so one would have to assume it goes tabs into the rear here and up to there. Why is it not going? Let me see if I do it in front of the seat. No, it's definitely got to be behind this seat. Alright, so here's an issue I'm noticing. The 2 tabs are just as wide as the seat. I'm not sure why they didn't design the tabs to go around the seat. Because if you look at the seat, there's almost no space behind it. So, trying to force that back seat. Maybe if I... Where's my pry tool? I'm going to have to try to push that back seat forward to get the plastic tabs behind it. I think I did do it. But see how it wants to torque the plastic this way. So now it's under extreme tension, and henceforth the front of it doesn't want to sit in place. So this is just poorly designed. You know, whoever designed this roof rack didn't actually look at the dimensions of the seat. So it's almost like, if you want it to just rest. First, let me see if I can get these 4 tabs into those grooves up top. I almost feel now that these 4 teeth up here are too wide for those 2 openings. If you look at this, the openings, you see, it's actually too wide. So this is a really poorly designed roof rack. It's just amazing that someone would design it this way. Unless it's actually supposed to be elevated. Maybe it's just supposed to rest in that recess. Now, let's see, the rear is like weird. I don't know. If anyone else gets this thing, can get that thing to fit properly, please leave a comment, because for me, I don't see it happening. It's just, it creates too much tension. You know what? I'm going to clip off these tabs. If I clip those off, maybe it'll just rest properly. So now let's see what happens. Well, that's better. So that's an issue. Yeah, those tabs are in the wrong location. Now if I actually clip off the inside of the tabs here, yeah, well, still it doesn't want to clear the rear of the seat. The rear of the seat is, you know, it's at an angle. So it's, yeah, I'm afraid this is just not a good design. I guess if you really wanted to, you could crazy glue this thing to the whole rear and then the 4 pieces on the front. But for me, I don't see it. Or maybe I just clip off the rear half and have the roof rack with the light bar, because I do like this light bar. Pretty neat. I think it's safe to say this is not going to help me though. I wonder if it's colliding with that roll cage. Well, since it's all messed up anyways. You know what? I'm okay with that actually, because I like to see the roll bar back here anyways, and that kind of covers up that weirdness. This is weird. I'm pretty sure the Suzuki doesn't have these extra bars, these 2 extra bars at least. That's the door frame, so that's going to be there, but the 2 extra bars I think must be some sort of mod that BM Creations added. So, alright, so I think that's good. I think I might need some sticky putty though. And in fact, I got to put some on the rear tire here. You know, this rear spare is just very loose. Well, I guess if you don't touch it, it will sit there. I think I like it with the top down more than this though. Yeah. What's odd is there's absolutely nothing on this thing that keeps it in place. And there's no tabs or anything like that. So, interesting. Strange choices, you know. So I have this poster board putty here. I'll mess with it again. Alright, let me come back. So these are the only images I could really easily find of this vehicle with these two horizontal grille slats. The other one has the vertical grille slats, more like a Jeep. So this is, I think, well, I don't know where this vehicle is from, but you'll see the windshield actually folds down, and then the turn markers are in generally the right location. And here's the rear. Yeah, the rear taillights, seem to make sense. And this one doesn't have a spare tire carrier or anything like that. And it's got fender flares, but oh well. That's the best I could do for the photo comparisons. Sorry about that. Let's get this up on here compared to a couple other models now. Man, this is a long video. It's crazy. So here's a Land Rover from Mini GT. It's a Defender 90. And then the king of 164 trucks for me is Kangfai's Land Cruiser, because it has a really realistic suspension, even though I don't care about the bottom of it. But even the top of it, you can clearly see there's a lot of details, although the color choices are a bit weird. Okay, here's the top view. So there's, the Jimny's a small 4x4. Let's get these out, because I do have two other Suzuki small vehicles of truck nature. They're both plastic, and they're both by Aoshima. That's a Suzuki Hustler, and that's a Jimny, but a more modern version of it. So I think these things are called Gashapon toys. They might have come in a plastic, like, gumball machine. And so now you can see that they're all similar in size. Alright, so that's that one. Let's let this guy spin on its own. I guess it deserves it after so much time. Alright, so, boy, I got a lot on this one. It's, on the one side, it's really nice that you have all these extra parts, and you can basically customize a thing to look like the way you want it to look. On the flip side, I don't think it's necessary. I think they would be better off maybe just making 2 or 3 variations and then just selling those variations already built. At least, with the rack thing and the roof and the bumpers, I just don't see those as 100% necessary. I think the extra wheels and the ability to raise and lower the suspension is a pretty cool feature, because it's alright. I'm okay with it. But at the same time, I also feel like they could have actually sold me 2 models if they just had a regular street version and then a modified off-road version. Because even though I make models, I'm going to guess a lot of other people wouldn't have the patience to sit here and do this. This probably took over an hour just to get it to look like this. Right? I cut out a lot of this video. So if you have a lot of patience, if you actually want something to take up a lot of time, which is the purpose of a hobby, this might be right up your alley. If not, just pull it out of the box and leave it in stock form. There, that's your simple solution. And then you could, one thing that I do like is I'm going to take those extra wheels, the regular road going wheels, which are so nicely detailed, I'm going to put them on a different vehicle at some point in time. And I didn't even show you, just let me show you these wheels one last time, or first time. These are nice wheels as well, these aftermarkets. You can see like the little perimeter bolts and stuff like that. So, and there's still air passing between the little holes as well. They remind me of like Centerline wheels or something. Alright guys, well, long video. If BM Creations comes out with some other stuff without opening hoods and doors or things that would affect the overall appearance, I'll try them out. So hopefully that video will come someday. Alright, see you guys, bye.